What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down some big news involving the markets, which you should be watching for as time progresses, and how things are looking in my personal opinion. But before I break into all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If we sign up for Moomoo, deposit $100, you're guaranteed 7 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon in just about 2.5 weeks. Anyways, now let's break down what's happening to the market. Looking at SPY right now, this thing is looking more bullish as this thing is uptrending right now. And as it's trying to push, we're actually fighting some tough resistance at this 521.5 zone, not to mention 523 above that. So although SPY is bullish, although it's trying to push higher, we have to be very careful at these levels since we're getting very close to the all-time high, and we are close to areas where SPY rejected in the past. So I'm going to be watching to see how it ends up reacting. But I first want to talk about some data. So for today, we currently have Bowman from the Fed giving a speech, and then at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, look at the main time to watch for volatility. That is 30 minutes after the market opens, look for volatility. We have Kashkari giving a speech. We have the Michigan 5-year inflationary expectations, consumer expectations, and things just like that. So all the data from Michigan comes out, not to mention Kashkari's speech at 10 o'clock a.m. Then later on, as the hours progress, we have more Fed speakers around 1 p.m., and also at 1:30 p.m., very close to that time frame. But the main time to look for volatility is 10 a.m. for today. Today being Friday, May 10th. That's going to be very, very important. For earnings, I was looking at earnings. Earnings are basically concluding at this point. We just had Inspired and DigitalOcean and just a few others. I didn't really think that any of them were that significant, so I'm not going to talk too much about those. I already went over the majority of earnings for the week that are of significance. So that's all I'm seeing. For some news about the markets, we're still seeing the Dow Jones on its streak, not to mention other stocks out there that are continuing to hold up very well. Then there's also news coming out that Sinclair is looking to sell nearly 30% of its owned and operated broadcast stations. That's some very, very big news. It's actually one of the largest owners of broadcast stations in the US. So that's something very important. Some news about Aapl took the rare step of apologizing for an advertisement that prompted swift backlash on social media. So that is something very important. They're basically always trying to express themselves, and they had a little ad for the iPad, and that actually got a lot of criticism. So they really apologize for that. Excuse me. For Novavax, they're coming up with a new deal to basically continue to develop vaccines. And finally, there have been a lot of pieces of news right here about how there are other companies out there, such as uh, Hydro, who have been attempted to be bought by Peloton in the past. Now it's becoming an acquisition target and tries to turn it from being a slowing business. They're coming up with lots of machinery that can be used at home for home workouts and stuff like that. But that's something else that's worth noting. Anyways, going back, when it comes to the markets, today is May 10th. We have over 300,000 calls expiring. We have over 527,000 puts expiring. Majority positions are in puts. Max pains at 513. So we will see if this turns or not for the markets, or if the market makers end up squeezing shorts. One last thing for Tesla is planning on spending more than $500 million to expand its supercharger network, despite all the criticism that they have gotten. So that's good news for them. And it's very, very awesome to hear things like that because Tesla was getting a lot of criticism for laying off the supercharger team, and now they're still continuing to make their investments. So, with that being said, let's talk about the markets for the next 4 to 5 minutes. So, SPY is looking bullish right now. We're making higher highs and higher lows. We're breaking out. But just know that we have this resistance at this 521 zone. If we break that, look at 523 as our next target. The reason why I'm calling this out is because the last time we hit 521.5, we rejected. Last time we hit the 523s, we also rejected. And if we broke past that, our top ended up being at the 525s before it rejected. So we have tough resistance coming up at these levels. We'll be watching to see how SPY ends up reacting. That's going to be resistance. For support, if we lose 521.5, look at 520's critical support. That has to be held. If we end up losing that, then we could turn back down, and then 518 becomes our target. So we'll have to see how things go for SPY, and we'll have to be very patient in the process. We will just be very, very mindful of what else is about to come. In my personal opinion, SPY looks like it could push higher, but watch resistance, as overall that's going to be kind of tough, and that's going to be very, very critical, at least for SPY moving forward. For the QQQ, we're also pushing up very, very nicely. I do see potential for us to go a little bit higher. But make sure you watch 442 as our key support. If we lose this, look at 441, then eventually 439 and 437. For resistance, watch 443, this 443 zone. If we break through this, then we could go all the way up towards 445 to fill this next imbalance. Overall, I would say that the QQQ is approaching some tough resistance the closer we get to 444. We are looking bullish for now, so it could push higher, but I would watch resistance just to be safe, and I'd be very, very mindful of that. So, yes, we could go a little higher. We could get closer to like 444 and stuff like that, but just be careful because the QQQ did reject off those levels in the past. So, we'll see if that ends up being the case again or not. For Tesla, Tesla's kind of flat right now in this 172 area. Watch 172 as support. If we lose this, look for 170, then eventually 168. And look at resistance right over here around this 175 area. If that breaks, then we have 177 coming next. But in my personal opinion, we have to wait and see how things go. Will Tesla end up turning or not? I do see potential in Tesla trying to test 175, and we'll see if it rejects or not. If we get a rejection, then we could be dipping towards 170. If we break 175, we're going to be pushing up higher. So watch and see if we do try to get closer to that level. But overall, Tesla is a little bit weak compared to the market. There is potential for this trying to make its way back up to 175. So we'll just have to wait and see. The reason why it's weak is because of all this bad news that's been coming out. But I'll be very, very patient in the process nonetheless. For Nvda, we're also holding it very, very well, at least within this range. So Nvda did rebound a bit. Now we're going to be looking at resistance at this 900 area and also at 908. We have support at 892. We've been stuck within this range for quite some time. So we'll see which way we break. If we lose 892, look for a dip all the way down towards 885. So otherwise, we're kind of stuck within this range. And then we also have Aapl stock. Aapl, in my opinion, is also looking decent. We got a nice accumulation, and there is upside potential in it. So we could be going all the way up to about 185 if we break this, and then 186. If we lose support at 184.25, we're going to be dipping all the way down to 183.5, eventually low levels. In my opinion, I think that we could try to go a little bit higher towards the 185s, but watch resistance here because the last time we hit this 185 zone, we did reject during earnings. So we have some tight resistance coming up. Could we go a little higher? Yes, we can, but we might end up seeing some shuffling up here, lots of sideways price action. So give this the time it needs. For a few more, let me just be really quick with this part. Supermicro is kind of shuffling in this area between 800 as support and 820, may continue to do so. So watch and see which way we break for the bigger move. For Coinbase, we're at resistance. I did call out yesterday we're going to likely test 215. If we get a rejection, we're going to be coming all the way down to 210. If we break past it, we're going to be going all the way up to about 220 plus or even higher. So it is looking like it may attempt to break a little higher and reach 220. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. For Amazon, we have support currently at this 187 area. Resistance is at 190. So we'll see which way we break as we're trading kind of sideways. For Meta is also at this resistance around 478. If we break through this, so that's actually previous support becoming resistance at 478. If we break this, then we're going all the way up to about 480, eventually 485. If we reject here, we're going to be dipping all the way down to 472. But overall, I would say that Meta is still at resistance, and we'll just have to be very patient to see how it reacts. With that being said, one last thing is the VIX. The VIX is actually approaching this key support around this 12.5 area. So we will see what it does here. It does love to bounce off here. There was once a period where it was actually stuck in the 12s for a week. So this shows that the market could take a few more days, another week until we finally turn. But we'll just have to wait and see. The VIX is at critical support. It does love to bounce off this area. And this shows that there is going to be a rejection likely coming to the market soon. But we're not ready yet. We're not ready for that rejection yet. The market could take its time, could take a little bit longer to get it. So we'll just have to wait and see. As of right now, the VIX shows that the market is bullish. We are bullish on SPY and the others, but we will see once the VIX bounces and if SPY gets the rejection at that time. So we're just waiting to see. Give this a little bit more time. We're not ready yet. Anyway, SPY and the others are looking bullish. SPY is trying to approach its all-time high up here. It does have potential to do so. If we end up breaking this key resistance at 521.5 and 523, I think we could go a little bit higher, but let me just say, like I said before, the last time we hit these levels, we did reject. So SPY did get a rejection on 521.5 and also at 523 in the past. And we'll see if we reject or not. So just be careful and be mindful of that, guys. I want to give you guys a very important warning about this. And we will see how things go from here. So could we go higher? Yes, but make sure you watch resistance just to be safe. Thank you for listening, guys. Have a great day. And I'll see you guys in just a few hours. Thanks again, and peace out.